Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and of course DK in the background running the show. We're excited to be here on a Tuesday night. Baltimore Ravens are on a 3-game win streak. Everybody is finally, all of a sudden, joining the bandwagon in the national media. It always makes me laugh how fast they will turn the tables around and say they didn't bash the Ravens. But look, we're here to talk about it. Of course, this game wasn't perfect. We're going to bring in Coach Evans to break it down. We got a lot of notes, a lot of things that we think, we want to learn more about, but we also want to talk through. Should they be legit concerns? Was it kind of an anomaly? Other things and otherwise. But before we get into it, we want to talk about our great sponsor, BetOnline. Glenn, what's going on these days with the OG of sports gambling?
That's right. BetOnline. Well, first and foremost, they are the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. So that's a good start, Jimbo. And on top of that, they have every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. If you think you know your stuff, get in on the $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200K. When the games are over, head on over to the online casino and get in a hand of blackjack or poker or unwind with over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here.
Let's go. Speaking of the game, of course, like I said, Ravens on 3-game win streak. Glenn, it's been a few days.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect. But I just want to ask you a few questions, of course, before we get into Coach. What's been your take on the national media coverage of the Baltimore Ravens? Where are you at? Like, do you just laugh at this point now that, like, everybody's riding high and, so many people are saying Lamar is going to be the MVP, this, that, and the other? Is this one of those things where that when we lose a game, they're going to all, go against us? Or how's it been for you watching this? Because it cracks me up, right? Like, the sky was falling, we're 0-2. And all of a sudden, we're 3-2, and everyone's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, it just shows you how much this is just such a week-to-week league. Like, everyone Buffalo was unbeatable in the first 3 weeks. They're smashing teams. They have this crazy defense turning balls over, and Josh Allen hasn't thrown a pick yet, and he can't miss. And now after 2 games of playing against the Ravens, and who did they play last week?
The Texans.
The Texans. He went 9 of 30. He's getting side-eyed from Stephon Diggs, and they look a mess right now. And then same with the Steelers, where they look like, it's like, wow, look what they're doing with Justin Fields, and George Pickens is looking – now they're in disarray. George Pickens is quitting on his team. He's half-assing every route out there, and they don't know if they're going to go back to Russell Wilson this week or not. And then, look, Denver's good. Like, Denver was everyone circled them. That's a win, right? This is a win. And same with this Washington team. I think a lot of teams were kind of circling this as maybe one of the easier games. And, man, things have changed really, really quickly. But, yeah, for the Ravens, man, everyone's waiting, though, for any type of slip up. You can just see it. It almost like they begrudgingly compliment the Ravens and what they've been doing and just are waiting for anything to where they can go, see, I told you they weren't that good, and jump on the bandwagon of Joe Burrow or Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just goofy at this point.
Absolutely. No, some of it is enjoyable, you know what I mean? Because low-key they're eating crow, even though they're trying to spin it like they knew all along. But, they're absolutely eating crow. But, yeah, they're just waiting for a crack in, a chink in the armor. Thank you to Dak Prescott. Just like you said, Glenn, it's a week-to-week league. Ravens Host Nation says thank you to Dak Prescott for beating the Pittsburgh Steelers because, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers were riding high in the division, and now we are tied. I believe we're in first in the division, right? Because we have a intra-division win. So, look, I think the Steelers are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're
a good defense. They can run the ball a little bit. They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, they just can't draft on offense, except for wide receivers.
Yeah, but even this one, he's talented, but I can see why people were scared to draft George Pickens.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, yeah, Najee, I think it's fair to say that was a reach. I'm not going to say it was a bust, but think about the people that were on the board at that point.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he can't play, right? But yeah, my feelings on Najee Harris. Gus Edwards is better than Najee Harris.
That's right. We all know. It's well documented on these areas. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Ravens fan.
Yep.
I don't see anyone in this division. Obviously, I still feel like the Bengals are the biggest competition, and we just beat them in their own stadium, and they played the best. Like, we got Joe Burrow at his absolute best at home, and we still beat his ass. So, yeah, I mean, it feels good to be a Ravens fan. But I saw there was Jedge B said Monken has done a good job of hiding Lele. Was speaking of Todd Monken. I think everybody's been complimenting what he's done the last couple of games, this offense. Even when the defense knew we were throwing, we were carving them up. I mean, a lot of credit, of course, goes to the players, but Monken deserves some credit as well. And he's getting some, at least league-wide, Jimbo. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reporting that Todd Monken is already on the short list, the watch list for NFL head coach openings, as the first one does open as the Jets do fire head coach Robert Saleh and replace him on an interim basis with the defensive coordinator. I guess Aaron Rodgers got his wish. He got his way. Apparently, he was talking to Woody Johnson. And despite the fact, Jimbo, that through 5 games, the Jets have the exact same points per game average that they had last year without Aaron Rodgers. They do this year, but somebody had to go. It ain't going to be the $50 million man. So Saleh's got to go. What's your thoughts on Monken being on the short list and I guess the firing of Saleh?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I'll answer Monken first. It makes sense. I mean, you know, he's showing out. He's putting some good film out there, right? But I'm not gonna say a guy's not built to be a head coach. That's probably mean, and I wouldn't mean anything negative by it. But I think if I were a team, I would want to see an extended period of time, right? And certainly in the playoffs.
Yep.
That's kind of the thing I'd see, because Monken just ebbs and flows. He peaks and valleys, you know, and he can only control execution of the plays, but you can tell some of the play calls are still real head scratchers. So I like Monken, and I'm not surprised. I mean, look at the statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are what they are. But yeah, I mean, and Saleh, I'm not surprised either. They're just not good. They're not, for as much hype and trades and this, that, and the other. It makes me think of, like, do you remember the last few LeBron teams that were put together in Cleveland? With, like, remember Derrick Rose went over there, D Wade went over there. Like, it was just a weird, they weren't that good. You know what I mean? But of course, LeBron made them into the, you know, they took them to the finals or whatever because the East was terrible. But my point is that, like, they have so many names, just not good.
Well, look, Woody Johnson said that this is one of, if not the most talented Jets roster ever. And that this move is to re-energize and hopefully give them a better chance to win. So I guess you're not buying that this roster is one of, if not the most talented Jets roster ever.
I mean, I guess that's fair on paper, but look, you got to put it together on the field, right? It's like, remember the Browns with OBJ and who are Landry and the name, like there was names on name, Baker, of course, right? You got to put it together on the field, man. This isn't Madden. DK said the Jets are only a tad bit better than the Panthers, and that Monken would destroy his career by going there.
Wow.
I also wonder how coachable Aaron Rodgers is at this point in his career.
Yeah, I mean, it's interestingly, they keep both the coordinators, fire only the head coach, and it just makes it seem like Aaron Rodgers is really pulling all the strings. He's the one in the ear of Woody Johnson, and this is it's his team, win or lose. And right now, I mean, I don't know how you can go, you know, Robert Saleh. Now, look, their defense, I don't think is performing up to par, but it's their offense that's holding this team back. So it's just kind of funny that he's siding with, and I guess the money matters, and $50 million a year is what they're paying Aaron Rodgers. So I guess you got to go with your guy. But yeah, I hope Todd Monken, if he does decide, look, he's 58 years old. He's not one of these young guys, these head coaches that are, you know, getting hired in their late 30s, mid to late 30s. He's an older guy. He might not have many more shots.
Right.
His only chance. I hope he is a little selective and picks his, you know, it takes this decision with great care, because I don't want to, if this is my only shot, I don't know if I'm going to go play for Woody Johnson and the Jets.
Right. No, and I agree with that as well. I think that's important to consider, right? Like what is best for you at this point. You're not Mike McDonald at the ripe age of whatever, 32 or something like that. So yeah, something to consider. Being strategic is important at this point in your career arc. Yi Call. Oh yeah, this is the guy from Texas, right? I think Yi Call lives in Texas. Pittsburgh and diva wide receivers are like peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, they just go together. However, peanut butter and jelly is much better.
Yeah, look, so we know your feelings about PB and J. Well,
I'm
fan,
thinking
but
about taking a year off of peanut butter and jelly next year.
What?
Just
What's your
cause I
problem
want
with
to.
peanut butter and jelly
No,
now?
no problem. I just want to see if I can do it. You
I
know,
mean,
no problem with
jeez
peanut butter and
Louise.
jelly.
Let me see if I can torture myself.
No, I just want to see. You know, I don't know.
All right,
Give
all
it a
right,
try.
man. You
Kenny
just
Ash says adrenaline's still pumped from Sunday's game. This Washington game looking like going to be a good one too.
yeah.
Scared about our defense, but Harbs is historically dominant against rookie quarterbacks. Kenny, I think this is actually a perfect intro because we want to spend a lot of time talking about this. I think Glenn and I, DK, agree with Coach Evans, of course, some Sip2Tally. So, Kevin, we're going to answer your question with Coach in this conversation. So, if you guys don't know, of course, we have Coach Evans from Sip2Tally join the show, and he comes on often. Coach, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. And yourself?
Doing well, doing well. And Coach, this is kind of, I think, where I want to start. And to be honest with you, probably spend a decent amount of time because I think this is the big question. This is where at least I want to start things off. And Glenn, feel free to rephrase my question if you'd like. But the secondary is a concern for us right now. Glenn had some rankings. I think that Marcus Williams, according to PFF,
He is currently ranked 75 out of 79 qualified safeties.
Yeah, not great to say the least. Obviously, we gave up the points we did, 38 points, and a lot of big plays, a lot of stuff over the top, and a lot of money spent in that secondary. What does the tape tell you about this secondary? Really, the question that we want to know is: we assume that the talent is there.
Mm-hmm.
The money's obviously there. Do we have the guys? Is it mental? Like, is it schematic? You know what I mean? What's the breakdown? What's going on here in your point of view?
I think it's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of relearning the communication issues. It's a little bit of the scheme. It's a little bit of matchup situations. Because just take Sunday, for example. Whenever we get caught man-to-man, we don't have the corners to deal with those guys in man-to-man. Even though there was some miscommunication zone-wise, like the big play to chase over the top, but
Right.
a lot of the contested catches that T and J Moore got was man, and they just were better than our corners in those situations. So they never should have been in man situations, but we just happened to get caught and we got burned. And then when we get in zone and they were catching the ball, we had miscommunication. So we got some really good guys. J Moore is probably one of the top 5 receivers in the league, and T, probably top 15, and that's being modest, when he's on his game. So you dealing with 2 premier receivers, and we don't have a premier defensive back other than Kyle Hamilton. He's best suited, right around the box. So we don't have an exterior guy. And looking back at it, Wiggins is probably going to be our best guy as far as a straight cover guy. He's just in game 2 or 3 for him, because he did a okay job with Chase, but Chase was still just kind of doing what he wanted with whatever DB was on him.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach, was the challenging part I see when I look at the corners is that Brandon Stevens, like, I don't think this is something he can necessarily, like, can he get better at this? Because he's sticky. He's right there, but he just cannot seem to locate and make a play on the ball. Is that something that is ever going to get better?
At his age, I mean, to me, that's instincts. And at he's 26, 27 years old, I don't see that really improving. Like you mentioned, he's always where he needs to be. He just can't seem to locate the ball and end up either getting a penalty or them making impressive catches on it. Even if you think back to the AFC Championship game, that crazy catch Travis Kelce had, Brandon Stevens was all over. He just can't find the ball, and that's just his MO from a long time ago. And so I don't think he can transition to that. But again, you got people in place to phase them out if they just can't get better, because you got Wiggins. We don't really know what Tampa can do yet because he hadn't been healthy enough, but you got guys there to kind of, phase them out so you don't have to spend even more money back there, because he's the next guy up. If I'm not mistaken, his contract ends this year. So he's the next guy up even before Marlowe. Marlowe just makes a boatload more than him.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Now I want to talk about, you talked about geez, we talked about Kyle Hamilton, but one of the guys we've been really high on this year when we've seen him in spots is Darius Washington. Of course, he's a part of that secondary as well.
Mhm.
Do you see Darius taking some snaps from Marcus as a potential remedy to some of the issues we're running into with the lapses that Marcus seems to be having, or at least is that what you would want to see, or do you think it's best off that we stick it out and have faith in our highly paid guy, right, our vet guy, to get the job done?
I like seeing Darius in there, but it seems to me that him and Marcus play two different roles, two different
Yeah.
positions. It
Mhm.
seems more Darius is more of a in the box safety, strong safety type position, and he plays it well when he gets the opportunity to play it. And seems like Marcus is more of the traditional free. I don't know how much range Darius has.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it as a knock to him. I know Marcus has the range. He's just not performing. The play is not matching the money. And that's across the back end, the play is not matching the money for them guys. And but I would say try it, man. It can't hurt because you got two other safeties back there that we know can lay the lumber, but we just don't know if they have the range. And if we don't have a rangy guy back there, I mean, we got so many back there, switch it out for somebody.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing some of these young guys get a couple snaps, see what they can do, see what Bo Braid maybe can do out there. Why not? I mean, 75 out of 79. Can it be much
Mhm.
worse than what it's been?
It was I saw a graphic Monday. It was 75 out of 75 last week. So he was
Yeah.
last out of last. He just
Yeah.
lucky that 4 more people played and he
Exactly.
didn't go
4 more
down.
people qualified, so he didn't go down. And funny enough, I said this before, Geno Stone is ranked 75 or 79 out of 79. Geno
Great.
Stone is now
I
dead
love it.
last.
I love it.
He's a
But
whiz.
Craig's question or super chat kind of goes into my next question for you, Coach. He said, "Did you see Cole Jackson's ex post comparing Mike Mack to Zach Orr's first 5 games as DC? Like you
Mhm.
said, perspective. Let's not give up on you or yet. Certainly not giving up on him. But what was it that he was able to do to seemingly eliminate all the big plays from the Bengals offense and keep those guys, kind of under wraps? Did Mike Orr not did Zach Orr not take down some notes and go, oh, that's what he did to do? Like, what's different about what Mike was doing versus what Zach did this game?
The difference. Also, somebody posted a graphic shortly after Cole posted that showing the degression of stats after that Miami game for Mike McDonald. Orr's stuff is up, down, up, down, up, down. Mike McDonald had a okay game, a 500-yard game to Miami, then 300, 200, 170, and then the defense got better. So Orr's, had that one. I mean, I'm sorry. McDonald had that one boom game versus Miami where they just destroyed us. Then everything else got better, got better, got better. We getting a heartbeat with Orr. So, and that's what scares me more. So even though the numbers are kind of comparable right now, the chart is different. The chart, like McDonald's defense got better. Orr's they really ain't got a handle or a feel on where they're at yet. The only consistency on Orr's defense right now is Travis Jones and Matabike. The only difference.
Wow. Now we do have another super chat about the edge that I want to talk about as well. It says, what's the main problem with the defense? Pass rush not getting to the quarterback on time, or is it just the secondary alone? First thing I'll say before you answer this, coach, is, of course, just like Ozzie Newsome says, the best way to improve your secondary is get to the quarterback. Right. So we talked about peanut butter and jelly before, coincidentally. They go hand in hand, right? Like, I don't think it's fair to say you can just blame one or the other. They are complementary in the way that they exist. And so, what's your take on this, coach? First of all, I got to back up for a second. Where are you on Baconator watch? Now it's been a few games. How are you feeling about Odafe Oweh? Obviously, he had
It's
I think
5, right? Or 4?
He's got 3.5.
Okay.
3.5. He hasn't had any for what, 2 games now, Glenn?
It's been a couple. It's been a couple.
It's gonna be tough. I thought you were doomed for a minute.
He had that Raider game.
This a pivotal week right here.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough to sack this guy because of how well he moved. This is a pivotal week right here for you. If you can get through this week, you might make it. You might make it. but you might. But I initially from the start, I was like, oh, it's gonna get rough on my guy.
Yeah,
He
no,
done
for
cooled
sure.
off a little bit. He done cooled
Yeah.
off a little bit.
Absolutely.
So much that they had to bring in a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's your take on that guy? I mean, Unique was, I think, impressive in his first action. Just got here a few days before. He's thrust in there and looked like he had some spring left in his step,
Yeah.
Coach.
He didn't look like we should call him Unk just yet.
Mm.
I think it's gonna take him another week or so to get ingratiated to what they're trying to do, but I think he can add to it. I see that. I thought Tavius was gonna be the guy that lost snaps because he came, but it was Adisa, and I should have known because Adisa was a rookie, and we don't put a lot of faith in rookies, so I should have known that. But I think he's just gonna add to it because because the pressure, we got guys that get pressure. We're just not getting it consistently. You think of the names, Van Noy, who is one of the league leaders in sacks. He got what, 6? So I think 6.
Yep.
Ojabo show flash. Owe is better. We got guys, and you add him to that, and you can sprinkle in Tavius. We got guys that get there, just needs to be more consistent. The only difference is when you take Matabike and Travis out, the middle of that line kind of falls down a little bit. And I noticed it during the game Sunday. When those two were out, Cincinnati was able to run the ball. The pass protection got better too. But then when you put them back in, the whole entire defense got better just from those two guys going in there. And no matter what other combination of DTs you had in there, the defense kind of took a notch a little bit. So, and I know they can't play the entire time because they big guys, but it's just the drop off from DT set 1 to DT set 2 affects the whole defense. But all the money's over there, so they got to figure it out because they got all the groceries on that side.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. They got to be the strength of this team. Ing Raven Vids jumping in the chat. Appreciate you jumping in here. Ing Raven says, don't give up peanut butter and jelly here, Jimbo. Don't do it. Look, you've already given up enough. Hold on. What all have you already given up? Meat, dairy, and now you're gonna.
It's just a thought. It's just a thought.
Just gonna eat leaves? Like what?
No, I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about.
Be a rabbit.
Yeah, like holy.
It's more of a test of will.
Just challenging yourself. Okay, man, I gotta get some of that. Dude. I need a little bit of that in me, Jimbo, because let me tell you, I did 8 miles on a bicycle and my legs were hurting. All right,
let's go.
Don C. Another 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Don C. Appreciate your continue.
Yes, thank you.
Ing Raven says you just give up food, huh? You just gonna give up all the food, Jimbo.
Walk around with a big water bottle.
Here we go, Coach. Look, you see it? This is 32 ounces.
Jar. Like,
this is 32 ounces. Let's go.
Nothing fancy, neither. Just a mason.
Hey, where I'm from, when you drinking out of that, it ain't water.
It's moonshine, baby. It's moonshine. Yep, that's what all the people at work tell me. You got moonshine right there.
All right, well, Coach, let's switch sides of the ball here. Man, I've been so impressed with Ronnie Stanley. Not only is he finally healthy, but he's the 2nd graded pass blocker of all tackles in the league, according to PFF. This guy has been unbelievable. What kind of impact does a guy playing at that level at the line's premier position, left tackle? What is that kind of doing for the rest of this line and really for this offense, the way Ronnie's playing right now?
I want to go on record and kind of apologize for some of the slander I gave that man last year, because I thought he was done. We didn't know till about halfway through the season. They didn't let it come out that he was not healthy. And when I realized he was unhealthy, I was like, well, hold on, I may need to eat some of this crow. And then the way when the little secret play that they didn't want anybody to talk about, that we soon found out was Ronnie going up for a catch.
Yeah.
When I realized he was that healthy, I said we might get our guy back. And he's proven to be, we probably won't get all pro Ronnie back, but we definitely can have all-star, maybe Pro Bowl Ronnie, or at least one of the top tackle Ronnie. And he's proven it to be that, like all the stuff that he couldn't do as far as sit down with that ankle and get out in open space and block guys and lead tosses and stuff like that. That guy's back, and his short area quickness is back. His power's back. His ability to get to the second level is back. He's doing everything that he was the reason he got that money. Just a notch below that all pro level. And as you get older and you have injuries, some of the stuff don't come all the way back. So I'm good with where he's at because he's finally at the healthiest version he's been in a long time, and he can lead those other guys because they're all pretty much young, even Linderbaum. They need a veteran guy to look up to and say, that's how it's supposed to be done. We need to get like him.
Mm-hmm. So are we? No, this is a rhetorical question. Are we talking about a Ronnie extension here at this point? But that doesn't have to be answered. We can talk about that later. This is the real question.
Getting paid.
Yeah,
he's playing.
Right. So, but this is the other question I have the real question I have for you. O-line.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's been a couple weeks since we've talked. I know that people have been all over the board on this group. I think what we've been trying to, as objectively as possible here on this show, is preach patience. How have you felt about the I have a twofold question. How have you felt about their progress as a whole, and how do you see Monk's play calling helping them, or not? But I mean, it seems to be helping them.
As a whole, they've gotten better, as a unit. I do think it's Monken's play calling that is the reason they've gotten better. I think the lineup that we've seen the last two games is the best of the two lineups. I still think the lineup can be better with Falele's out there because even though he's gotten incrementally better, I still see just watching the stuff today and just focusing in on him. There's still the same stuff he was doing in the first game. He's still doing it in this game. Like to me, his best block that I've seen him make, I put it on Twitter. He failed and smashed the dude. To me, that was his best, most powerful block I've seen him make all season, and it was semi an accident. He doesn't work well out in space, and we're a spacey team now because we run a lot of outside stuff. He don't get to the second level because he can't. We know he can't outrun linebackers to certain spots, but he's not good at angles because he don't have the short area quickness and burst to get there with first step. When we run power stuff, he can't move people, and he is constantly allowing people to cross his face. And when they cross his face, they're right in the hole. So all the little fundamental stuff of a guard, he can't do. He's just big. Now he's okay in pass pro, but if we're a running team, we need people out there that can help in the run game. And again, I ain't on the slander train no more. That my jokes are done with Falele. I'm just being 100% honest about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Malik and Stone bring up a good question. What if when Voorhees is completely healthy? And I think maybe Dr. Dre Mason brings up a good point. Why not put Voorhees back in at left guard and let's see McCary at right guard? Is that because obviously Ben Cleveland, like I've given up on Ben Cleveland seeing the field. I don't know what the hell happened, but I've given up on that. Do you think their best lineup, if we just don't include Cleveland, would it be Voorhees at left guard and get Falele out and get McCary in at right guard?
Yeah, because McCary's done fairly decent at left guard. I think he's played better than Voorhees at left guard. I don't know what the grades say, but my eye test says me he's played better at left guard than Voorhees, which has allowed Rosengarten to play, and he's held his own. So that's why I said the last two game lineup has been better to me than the first two game lineup, or the first three games, or whatever the case is. But I still think even if it ain't Cleveland, it's one of three guys because Josh Jones played about 9 or 10 snaps Sunday, and he didn't look bad. And he's played guard before too. So to me, Josh Jones being Cleveland, and McCary, they must not McCary or whatever the other backup. They must really be bad to not even warrant a chance at that spot. Or unless you just want to say, okay, these my five, I'm sticking with them.
Yeah,
or my opinion, you should have did that early in camp then.
Right. Instead of having McCary play get his first start, and I think even get his first snaps at left guard. Right. In Buffalo, right?
Right.
Yeah, you should have done that from the get-go, just like you said. Now I want to stay on the offensive side of the ball. And I want to talk about Lamar's game. One of the things that we often talk about on the show is we get nervous that the other shoe is going to drop, right? That teams are going to commit to stopping the run, drop 8 in the box, cover 0 type stuff. And then crap, the wheels are going to fall off all over again, right?
Mhm.
But in this game, and either of you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think Lamar was 5 for 8 in those scenarios, and played really well when they tried really hard to just simply crowd the box and play the type of defense that's given Lamar issues in the past.
Mhm.
What does the tape show you, Coach, when it comes to Lamar's growth in those scenarios? And also, one of the things I think is important is, I asked this in a similar question, do you think that Monken is helping him with his play call as well, instead of having Lamar just be Superman?
I think him seeing it enough and trusting what the tails are before it happens, like knowing if guys are going to drop in those open spaces. Also, the different options that Monken has presented him with to those calls. So for lack of a better term, giving him some answers to the test, and then just having guys that he trusts that, okay, I can throw it if it's 3rd and 8, I can throw it to 6, and somebody's gonna fight and give me those 2 yards. Whereas in the past, he felt like he had to throw it past the sticks, so he had to extend the play and make sure the ball traveled past the line. But now he got guys he trusts that can maybe break a tackle and go ahead and get those extra yards. It's a combination of things that go with it, but it's just seeing it more, because when he first saw it versus what's the guy in Minnesota now?
Oh shoot.
Flores. When he first saw it versus
Yeah,
Flores
Brian Flores,
in Miami, it was foreign to me at that time. I had seen it before, but not to that extent. And now he's seen it multiple times because other teams try to duplicate it. And I just feel like he's like, okay, enough is enough. You see the same thing over and over. It becomes like that movie where you seeing the answers in your head, and now it ain't the game slowed down to him now. So he got repetitions on it, and he good. I don't think it's gonna come back on him, because it's only so much stuff you can do out of it. And now he done seen it all. He done it all. Now he's just gonna start ripping it up.
Let's
I love to hear. I love that. That gets me excited to hear.
Because Glenn, don't you think for you that's like one of the last reservations you have?
Yeah,
like,
because even when we were,
moments?
because even in the Cowboys and Bills games, we're running all over them, and we're throwing the ball 15 times and running at 45, and that's great. But in the playoffs, we've seen teams just go, "You're not running the ball. We're going to put so many guys in the box that we're going to make you do something you don't want to do." And I hadn't seen us show that we could throw when the other team knew we had to throw, wanted to throw, until this game, and they were able to do it all second half, certainly in the fourth quarter. Rave Kingdom says, very late, amazing show. Falele still sucks, LOL. Yeah, he's certainly the target right now for fans. But one thing that's been driving me a little bit crazy, and I'm confused as to why it's still happening, Coach. When Monken got here, he talked about there was a very big difference in philosophy between Roman's idea of get the play in later, take possessions away by using every bit of the play clock, and snap the ball with 2 seconds left. Monken said, no, we're doing it different. Getting the play in early, allowing our offense to get to the line of scrimmage to make checks and changes and pre-snap. Why does it still seem like we're battling delay of games every damn snap? Whose fault is it? Is it the play call not getting in? Is it adjustments at the line are taking too long? Why are we still battling delay of games?
I think it's because of the plays still coming in right at that 15-second mark. And then Lamar's trying to see, okay, what are you in? Do I need to check? And then by the time he makes that decision, bam, it's back to 5 seconds. And we're back in the same boat. The only thing is you have an opportunity to be in a better play than initially breaking the huddle at 5 seconds and got to run whatever it's called. That's the difference. But now, and that's not saying it's Lamar's fault or it's Monken's fault. It's just a product of me giving you the range to, get us in the right play every time. But Monken could still maybe shorten the calls or whatever, or Monken could still get them in earlier and start the process faster. But I'm not saying it's totally his fault or totally Lamar's fault, or it could be he's just trying to figure out the right play for the situation. It happens, because I know there have been times I'll be like, I look at something, I'm like, no, that ain't right. Clock's still ticking. And it happens sometimes, but I don't think it's just on one person, but it's just a combination of things. And sometimes, for lack of a better term, it gets stressful.
Especially on the road, I guess, right, Coach?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Well, and really quick before we get the Shockwave Truth comment here, do you think that, because we were up to line late, that fumble that occurred, Lamar's trying to call protections or, whatever else he was trying to do there. I mean, ultimately that was the culprit of that. I think it's fair to say that was probably the culprit of that fumble.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think because that happened, I think Linderbaum was calling the protection, because Lamar was constantly asking for the ball, like, hurry up, snap the ball, come on, waiting. And Linderbaum and Falele was talking about what they was eating for dinner or something.
Right.
And then
Right.
at the last, he shot it back there, but Lamar was like, hurry up, come on, snap the ball. The whole little leg lift up and clap, clap, clap. So I think Linderbaum might have been calling protection.
That's fair.
Or waiting on Falele to touch his leg. Something was
Right.
going on.
Right. Yeah, either way, it needs to get fixed. That's for sure. Let's see.
Said,
go ahead, Glenn.
A crossing route called is better than a 20-yard go route called a link in pass with G-Row.
You talking about with the sticks coverage. G-Row would try to call them deep routes versus stick coverage.
Oh, yeah, you already know. You already know. Oh, G-Row, you know what I love? I love watching the fans' reaction out of LA right now in Charger land. They're going, how the hell is Justin Herbert averaging 150 yards passing a game? I'm like, this G-Row, baby.
Oh, no, my favorite one is Lamar won the MVP with this guy. That's my favorite.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're frustrated, man. But hey, JK is loving life. He's like, hey, I have no complaints in a G-Row offense. Coach, I got one last one for you. Some fans are happy about the win, but are concerned about the way they won and how this defense played and how they were a sieve going up against a real, like you pointed out, probably the best duo of receivers in the league, but still they got absolutely torched. But if you try to spin this to, let's talk about the good that comes out of a win like this. As a coach, how encouraging can it be to win a game that's super high scoring, tons of adversity, 3 separate 10-point deficits, I think all in the fourth quarter, a late turnover that everyone thought was going to lose them the game, clutch kicks. I mean, what kind of a leaping pad can a win like this be for a team from a coach's perspective?
It builds character, and it gives the coaches the opportunity to preach, never stop fighting, and to have something behind those words. All the little coach speak, like you got to believe and all that stuff. A win like that puts credence to all those words, because anything can happen. The never give up, the don't stop fighting. You got to believe in what you do. Do the right thing all the time. All that stuff. Wins like that puts fire behind those words and make those words come to life. And it pulls your locker room together. As much as we talk negatively about the coaching, the timeout decisions, and all that stuff John makes. Somebody love that guy, because he always get put in situations where the locker room gonna love him because stuff happens in his favor. So despite the little discrepancies we have with it, the way he manages the game, as we say in the country, he must be living right, because he keep getting blessed.
Yeah, and I think to your point, you guys would also agree, to your answer, Coach. It's just it's positive reinforcement, right? In that if you can see it, you can believe it. And now they've seen it, so they can believe it.
Like Glenn said, we after that fumble, man, we always like, forget this. What other game coming on? Or go do whatever. We all if you don't say, if you say you were still believing at that time, I've got a hard time believing your character right now, because the fumble was picked up in field goal range.
Right. You said
and their kicker is one of the better kickers in the league.
Yep.
Yeah. And their quarterback just had 500 yards passing at that point. So it's just lucky that they decided not to give him the ball once after that. Like, just blew my mind. Run. But I mean, how do you not put the ball in the quarterback's hands?
Throw the ball. Let's I don't mean to hijack your show.
Oh, no.
Let's talk about that sequence for a minute.
Crazy.
First thing, you run 3 straight plays. Second thing, you ice your own kicker.
Yes, he called that timeout. Why?
And then third thing, the holder fumbles the snap. What are the chances of all 3 of those things going on?
It's crazy.
I've never seen somebody on their own team ice their own kicker
for no reason. Like,
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree. It's the end of the game. Shout out to the defense for not making that kick any easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know how many yards we exactly gave up, but it felt like none.
Well, Metabike had a big stop,
Yeah.
tackle for loss in that. Yeah, you got to give those guys credit because they didn't give up. You know, a lot of fans might have hung their head, but
Right.
that defense made it as challenging as they could of a kick. And ultimately, the holder lost it for him, but the defense did at least the best they could do. Shockwave says, Coach, I rewatched the game. How did Roquan Smith let Chase out of the bunch for a 70-yard touchdown, or called the right play and put his best tackler in position? What
Terrible
I mean,
angle.
yeah, he did.
Terrible angle. Terrible angle.
Well, and a guy like Chase, of course, will make you pay. I
Yep.
mean, he's not very forgiving, right? Like that speed is absolute game breaking. So,
And I think
just
that's what
takes
he
one
did. He
mistake.
misjudged it. He misjudged that speed, and when Chase popped out between them two blockers, it was a wrap for them.
Yeah,
100%.
that I think the tackling was even more like, because we kind of expect Marlon and Brandon Stevens to have trouble turning their head and finding the ball. That's what they've done their whole careers, but they've also been really good tacklers their whole careers. And this tackles, I think, what was driving most fans crazy. Like, okay, give up the catch, but come up and make the tackle and don't give up any more yak yards. And that's really, I think, what kind of pissed a lot of Ravens fans off about the cornerbacks.
I think he had like 170 yak.
Yeah, like that's,
and he had 194 total. I think like 160, 170 was yak.
and even T had a couple short catches that he spun off of a tackler and turned into more. I know I said it was my last one, but I had this note and I skipped it. We got to give a little bit of love. Tylan Wallace doesn't catch that punt. And in the moment, I'm going, why does he not catch this punt? But I got to give the guy credit. He bounced back, made 2 tough catches, and he had the block that kind of sprung the run as well. Do you look at Deontay Hardy as a guy that we don't really like? He's absorbing a roster spot for just a return man. Like, can't Tylan do the job, and he's a way better receiver?
He's serving the same purpose on the team that I am.
Yeah.
None. And I've been saying that from the 53, from him making the 53. I saw him with no purpose on this team. 0.
Yeah.
And he's proven it. He's proven it. You know, like, just a returner, you could have kept Wade if you want to do that. You could have kept another O lineman or another D tackle and let Tylan did it in justice if you want to do that. I haven't seen him. I have seen him play a little receiver, but it's on straight. I haven't seen him run a route yet. So Tylan can do all that stuff. He deserves it. He played special teams since he's been here. Hadn't failed you that I've seen in the few reps that he's got. He deserves a shot, in my opinion.
Yeah, and look, shout out to Tylan because had 2 big catches in that game too.
Huge.
Somebody you talk about must be living right. Somebody in that coaching staff likes him. He seems to be getting more and more run, and he hasn't disappointed yet, like you said, Coach. Both on special teams, and now with as few chances he's got, he's made the best of them. But that's a great point you bring up, Coach. We appreciate you hopping on. So looking forward to having you on again. We will keep you all you guys updated on Baconator Watch. Of course, Coach will give us the official word every time he joins the show. But Coach, we've mentioned it before, but why don't you let everyone know that's listening and watching where they can find the stuff you're working on? And like I said, if you guys want to be a smarter football mind, if you want to impress some people at the party, go over and check out Coach's stuff. But Coach, why don't you let them know where they can find you?
On YouTube, it's Sip2Tally Films, and on Twitter, I'm Coach Evans9. You can follow me at either one of those places, and come on over and learn yourself something.
I love it. Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you so much.
No problem. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just go over and be a smarter football fan. I mean, simple as that. He will make you a smarter fan. No doubt about it. Don C says, I watch Cole Jackson, Coach DC, and Coach Evans all the time. Love that Coach Evans is on the show, guys. Yeah, we absolutely love having him on here. I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge, but also I just love that he always seems to like kind of point out something a little bit different perspective, just from being, a guy who's actually coached on the sidelines. So yeah, appreciate Coach and his knowledge and time. But
now,
I mean, go ahead, Jimbo.
I was going to say really quickly, I got to shout out Craig Henzelk in the chat and address this question. We'll address it without him putting in a super chat because he's taking part in the show. But Craig, if you're still watching, he asked, what at this point do you think Eric DeCosta can do outside of, what's the best thing we think that he can do? Obviously brought in Ngakoue. Any other moves you think the Ravens need to make as the trade deadline approaches and it gets closer every day?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to address the edge position. They've obviously already expressed that there was a need there by bringing in Unique. And look, we don't know what injuries have in store for us, or if it's just performance based. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility they could kick the tires on an edge. I think this is a great topic to kind of make a bigger segment out of, certainly as this deadline approaches, because edge is one position. And look, it's hard because of where money is invested isn't necessarily our strongest part of our team. And that's the part that scares me, because safety right now is really like a guy who can cover the deep third. It's supposed to be Marcus Williams. I don't know if we have that guy. And you mentioned Ardarius Washington. We love him, but I don't think that's his role in this team. And I don't think Eddie Jackson can do it either. So as crazy as it sounds, I wouldn't be totally against them addressing a safety who could play in the deep third. It's just going to have to be awfully inexpensive. But on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think they need to trade for a guard, because I think they got plenty of options in-house. I think that obviously continuing these guys playing together is going to help. And if it doesn't get better enough, I think they have in-house options. And I think we got what we need at every other position. So it's just a defensive add to me. What do you think?
I think we've talked about this before. It just depends. It's for the guard position. To me, it's all going to depend on what teams are completely out of the playoff race and are going to be rebuilding, right? I mean, I guess it depends on any position for that, but specifically for guard, because guys aren't letting offensive linemen go. As stingy as they are with edge, cornerback, safeties, whatever, dude, they're so stingy with offensive linemen. Like, we don't see offensive linemen move all the time. And even if it is a guard, guards, of course, aren't tackles, but at the end of the day, you want your unit to be together. But if there's a guy, man, if there's this is pipe dream. But there's like a Kevin Zeitler type guy out there on a team that is just doo-dooing, right?
Like
just
Jags or something.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible, right? Like, obviously at this point, we haven't dug into those teams' depth charts, right?
Yeah.
But if there happens to be, I would love for them to make a run at a guy like that, just to help solidify that right side of the line, to help more than anything, help Rosengarten too, right? Because then you have a vet, if you have McCary, you have two vets on the left side, and you have Linderbaum, who's still a young guy, but then you have another vet and not just two young guys on the right side. So I'd like that as well. Do you think Eddie Jackson does more to cover,
Eddie Jackson has been disappointing.
I guess what I mean, though, is that, like, do you think that I guess if he's a disappointment now, it's not like it's going to, I guess it could change. He obviously could play better. My point really was around, like, how do we make up for Marcus Williams' subpar play if Eddie Jackson could be an in-house answer? I don't know.
I think Bo Braid might be the better in-house answer.
I'd be nervous about that, dude.
I'd be too, but every time we see Bo, man, he's out there doing his thing. So even though that's a lot to ask from a rookie,
big time,
just sprinkle him in and see how he does, and slowly give him a little more if he earns it, a little more.
If you guys don't know, we certainly now know where Glenn wants his son to go to college.
Well, look, it doesn't hurt that he's a Terp. I'll admit it. That's my guy. He's so fun to watch, man. I think he's got a lot of talent, and he's going to show it the more and more opportunities he gets. But yeah, I think we need to turn that into a bigger show segment.
I do too.
Certainly next Thursday or next Tuesday. I'm sorry. I think we need to make some more of this topic, but it's a good one. DK, looks like we have our week 5 championship or something.
Wait, do we have an intro for this, DK? Music? No? Okay.
He's like, no, stop it, Jimbo. Stop dancing along. There is no intro. But we do have our competition results, and we'll go over the show winner and then announce the fan winner at the end. But let's get right into it. I must say, I did peek a little bit as DK was tallying, and I'll let you take from here, Jimbo.
Okay, sounds good. Number 1, Justice Hill, because I don't know. I don't even remember what I put in for. Justice Hill, total touchdowns, 0.5. Obviously, Justice Hill had 0. I do remember I put under here. Glenn, what did you put here?
I put under as well. So did DK.
Okay, cool. So we all got 1. All right,
Yep.
let's keep this thing
We
on
started
moving.
off good.
Yeah. 2, Bengals tackles for loss, 2.5. I think we all had under here.
Nah, me and you had under. DK said
They had
over, and they had 3.
Jeez whiz. All right. I can already see where this is going. Number 3, Jamar Chase receiving yards.
Oh, boy.
I remember I put under on this one.
We all did.
Oh, DK didn't put over?
No.
Oh, geez. So at
We
this point,
all
DK has
wrong.
2. You and I have 1, correct?
Yes, correct.
Oh, gosh. All right. Number 4, Bengals rushing yards over under 86.5. And did we all put under?
We all put under. Yes.
So DK won.
Yes.
And
DK
now has
won.
the lead.
But for the fans, let's go over the first tiebreaker, which
absolutely.
was over under 49.5 points. Jimmy, you would have been the only one to get this one correct. You said over, and boy, was it over. I mean, absolutely obliterated the total by 30 points.
Which shocks me, Glenn, because in the pregame you said it was going to be a shootout, and then you doubted yourself.
That's, you know what it is? It's I remember what this defense was able to do to the Bengals the last few times we played them.
That's fair. They do bottle them up pretty well.
Yeah, like somebody pointed out in the chat earlier, he had like 20-something completions for like 200 yards last year against us. Like, they just couldn't get anything more than 5 yards down the field. So, but I was wrong. DK was wrong. You were right, Jimbo. All right, last one. And man, I mean, you were right again, but again, way under still. 520 total yards. You were the closest, guessing 435. DK was the worst, guessing 340 yards, nearly 200 yards off the final total. But he is the winner nonetheless. DK, this week's winner. Congratulations, DK. Another win.
Yeah, let's get on to the more important one.
He's starting to stack them, which is really bothersome. We got to get back.
Old DK's coming back in form here.
That's right. But let's get into the fan portion, and let's see this week's fan winner.
Belair on 4 out of 4, man. Was he the only one, DK?
No,
there's a lot of 4 out of 4s.
Had to go down to the tiebreaker,
and this is his second win.
Is it?
Second win of the year, so he gets the hoodie and the t-shirt, dude.
Man, Belair Ron on fire, winning through tiebreakers. Like,
and DK, we already have his address, right, in the document. Okay, cool. Just making sure.
So no need to send us anything. We will certainly send something right out to you. Congratulations on your Week 5 win. And guys, if you want to participate in Week 6 competition, make sure you're here for the pregame show and enter your results as a direct message to us in any of the social media. Again, we got to get those back in there. I miss being able to point it to them like that, and now they're gone. DK again trying to talk to us through the window, and I mean, I'm trying my best, but I can't figure out exactly what you're saying. But I think I gotta focus a little bit. I was shooting from the hip.
Oh, okay.
Huh? Go ahead.
Sorry, Glenn. I didn't cut you off there. DK saying that the social media handles are in the description of all the videos.
There we go.
Yeah,
that's what I meant to say. But I've been shooting from the hip a lot, just kind of quick drawing answers, because last year that worked for me. This year, nope. I need to deep dive, take my time, because the people's champ is not in the lead right now, and I know the people are disappointed, and I need to step my game up. I've been bad. I'll be better.
You know what's crazy, Glenn? I don't even know if I consider doing anything else but shooting from the hip. Like, I don't even know if that crossed my mind. Like, I'm just like,
I want to win, Jimbo.
No, I feel you, but like, that sounds
there's
like
a lot of pressure on me when you're the people's champ, Jimbo.
Look, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right?
You know what I'm saying?
My only point was just that, like, yeah, I guess I need to do more of that in other aspects of my life too, and just stop shooting from the hip. Right?
Let me ask you this. Does DK strike you as a guy who shoots from the hip?
No.
So if we're going to beat this guy, we might have to play by his rules. All right?
So now you're trying to beat him at his game.
He's asking, how do we direct message you will see the social media handles in the description below.
Yeah.
Simply go to any of those and send us a direct message on those.
Yeah.
We got
But
you.
I
And
think
hit a follow too while you're at it.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're not subscribed, I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
Subscribe and check out DK's musings and YouTube community while you're at it. Do all the stuff.
Certainly the new members. Definitely check it out.
Yeah. But I think that's it for us tonight, folks.
That's it. But
I just want to mention, Glenn, that we are 3-0 since we did not do the call in week 1 and 2, Glenn. We started in week 3. We're undefeated. We got to keep it going.
You know what that means. See you soon.